Hey guys, my name is SickaBOT1, and it's really hot out right now, and I don't particularly want to record in a bathrobe. And I got my hair cut way too short by accident recently, so we're back to the gameplay footage, at least for now. I'll be back in the flesh when Shawn and I tackle the best of 2014, but for now, video games. And of course, music.
I promise that you'll never find another like me.
This year has been deceptive. My first instinct is to say that this hasn't been a very interesting year for music, but that's not entirely true. I think most of that is fueled by having the same number one since the last season I did one of these. Also, I am pretty discouraged that I have so many repeats from the spring, even though I like a lot of them. The music has been very busy this year, make no mistake. So many big artists are getting big debuts one after the other, with varying levels of success. Country is now cool to listen to because of a rapper. Panic at the Disco has more mainstream success than he's ever had, I know what I said. And there's an album that just released that contains both Eminem and Justin Bieber. 2010 me would have been furious about that. And this is a pretty good week too, so I really have no reason to complain. It just kind of feels like I do with all the leftovers we've got. Still, I'm ready. Summer Top 20 ranked. Let me make this first one short. Go away! And now for some new targets. One courtesy of the worst person ever. Every time I become hopeful we've left him behind, Chris Brown finds a way to sneak back into popularity. Though nowadays it seems to be exclusively through collaborating with artists who really should know better, and that includes Lil Dicky. But it especially hurt to see Drake validating Chris again, because collaborating with Drake gives you a guaranteed hit nowadays. He wants to use that power to give Meek Mill his first hit in 4 years? Whatever, they were squashing beef. But this is straight up evil! Working with a man who's got a decade of violent history and terrible music under his belt at this point. I almost wish the song was worse to reflect that. Baby girl, you got it, girl, you got it, girl. Obviously, this is terrible. It's boring, badly mixed. Chris Brown's autotune is crap, and Drake doesn't sound engaged in the slightest. But it's not offensive or anything. It's a hookup track. You get what you get with those with Chris Brown. She already knows what your last name is, Chris. You're one of the most successful musical acts of the past decade, for some reason. And if she's smart, she'll reject your advances because you're a violent scumbag. I know I get around cause I like to move freely. This isn't sensual, it's tired. And if Drake wasn't on it, no one would give a shit about it. And speaking of Drake... When I die, put my money in a grave. When I die, put my money in a grave. I really gotta put a couple... Saying you're sick of Drake is a cliche at this point, and it's been one for at least 3 years. But when he puts out defensive fronts like this in an attempt to look tough, I don't care, I'm gonna keep saying I'm sick of Drake. The beat's tired, Drake exaggerates the title of the song to a comic effect, and Rick Ross is here for some reason. I guess so this song wouldn't have too many rhyming lines. But let's just unpack the chorus for a second. Drake wants to be buried with his money when he dies, and the main reason he's doing this is for spite. I really gotta put a couple niggas in a place. Not the way I would have revealed I'm still not over the Pusha T thing. I feel like I should be angrier at Drake's dominance these past few years, but apathy hits hard, I guess. 2 garbage songs by Drake in the top 20 this week. Just another Tuesday. Okay, now I'm mad. Yeah, I'm still not over how badly Say Amen did on the Hot 100, and I'm still fine with High Hopes having been a thing over the past half year or so. But did it have to lead to this? It's probably not the worst song on Pray for the Wicked, but it's still one of the more embarrassing songs I've heard Brendan Urie sing. And hey, the guy clearly has no shame, and on some level I respect that. But despite that, this line really should have been left on the cutting room floor. 'Cause I'm a hooker selling songs and my pimp's a record label. That just feels dirty in a way I don't think I'm ready to explain in detail. But really my biggest problem with the song is that it's High Hopes, but worse. Are you ready for the sequel? With High Hopes, say what you want about it, it went all out with the bombast and presentation. Hey Look Ma made it is so much cheaper. The synths are so chintzy it feels like a remix you'd hear on some bad hip-hop station. The way the fake horns are mixed in the chorus is almost AJR levels of cluttered and uncomfortable. And in general, there's nothing here that's as sticky or memorable as other recent Panic songs. I guess the way Urie sings the title is catchy. Hey, look, Ma, but everything else? It's not as triumphant as High Hopes as far as Started from the Bottom Now We Hear songs are, and these songs are on the same album right next to each other on the track listing, so I get why it was chosen as a single after High Hopes' success, but god is it redundant. and bad. So the meds here this time around is pretty sparse, but oh boy, we have a lot to talk about with these tracks.
Ain't nobody tell me nothing. You can't tell me.
When I talked about this song for the spring, the madness had only begun. The week I covered 3 months ago was the first week this song was at #1. Billboard hadn't yet counted the Billie Ray Cyrus remix, and it hadn't quite become the unstoppable force it later became. The song has consistently bested its closest competition well over 2-1 on the Hot 100, and has prevented no less than 7 songs at this point from reaching the top spot. This guy, with a debut single with a remix featuring a punchline of pop culture, is more powerful than Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran, Justin Bieber, Shawn Mendes, Camila Cabello, and Post Malone. If that doesn't scare you, it should. And at this point, the controversy that rocketed it up to #1 in the first place hardly matters anymore, though funnily enough, Billboard themselves made reference to it in their mid-year best songs list. So at this point, I guess people genuinely, from the bottom of their hearts, adore this song or are just not sick of the memes yet. Well, now I feel like a stick in the mud.
Hat down, cross town, living like a rock star.
Yes, Billie Ray Cyrus does make this a better song, but it still does nothing for me. There's nothing to it, and especially not enough to keep me wanting to come back over and over again. There are some memes that can sustain a long shelf life. All-Star, We Are #1, B-Movie, Boss. I feel safe in saying that when this song finally falls off the charts, Lil Nas X is not going to be anywhere close to that status of enduring meme. So yeah, Old Town Road. Still not that lit.
Can we just talk? Can we just talk?
Okay, this is the first Khalid hit I've been pretty disappointed with. Not a lot of it has to do with Khalid himself, though, it's more to do with Disclosure. When I've heard Disclosure produced beats in the past, they've been heavy on the UK garage, deep bass, whatever you call it sounds. And it is what it is on those songs, but this doesn't translate very well to pop. I don't even know why they did this. I wouldn't want to hear Khalid on a latch-style beat, but I can see that working about as well as dumping M&Ms in ranch dressing. So obviously they were gonna have to meet him halfway. The thing is, Khalid doesn't sing pop, he sings R&B. His biggest hits are moody and dark, not bright and happy, but that's far from the only problem with this production. It's too rhythmically wobbly to really sound good, the synths sound laughably cheap, and the melodies just kinda putz around with no strong catch. It's not pleasant. Khalid himself is okay, I guess. I'm just not used to hearing him this happy, so it's a bit of a distraction, but the lyrical sentiment is strong enough that I have to acknowledge this isn't a complete failure. Communication is important in a relationship after all. Wanting to talk about where you're going raises significantly fewer red flags than, say, insisting on breaking down your partner's boundaries. And the net result? Khalid's highest charting song as a lead artist. This doesn't anger me as much as it just confuses me. But hey, that didn't take long to get to the good stuff. Or at least stuff I can vibe with at least a little.
You need to calm down. You're being too loud.
Oh boy, we've reached the loaded guns of this video. Here we go. Sometimes I feel like I review controversies in these top 20 videos more than I review the songs in the top 20. But unlike the cowboy that squatted at the top and kept this song from a #1 debut, in a way, this was kinda designed to get people talking and to generate some level of controversy. Maybe not the controversy Taylor expected, but let's take this bit by bit.
Say it in the street, that's a knockout. But you say it in a tweet, that's a cop-out.
The main targets of this song are internet trolls and even a little bit of stan culture.
And we see you over there on the internet, comparing all the girls who are killing it.
Coming from the subject of one of the most rabid fan bases the internet has ever seen, that's kinda big. It's also kinda big that she's managed to take a completely different path with this compared to the thin-skinned Shake It Off. Like she's laughing at how pathetic you are for saying mean things about her on Twitter. And there's a discussion to be had on how well she can hold that facade, but I think she's doing it pretty well. The phrase, "you need to calm down," is a pretty harsh way of saying shut up, and it's one you kinda can't fight. Oh, and there's the gay stuff in the second verse.
'Cause shade never made anybody less gay, so
Yeah, the second verse is definitely written to be a defense of the LGBT, and the music video she shot with probably hundreds of members of the LGBT community further cements that. I'm still trying to figure out where I am in this video, there's no way she forgot me. And of course, this became controversial within the LGBT community itself for supposed pandering. A part of me wants to say that we shouldn't turn away a well-meaning ally, and that is what I was originally going to say about this, but then I realized that Taylor's only really focusing on the mean comments the community gets, so it is kinda shallow and undercooked in a similar way as, say it with me folks, 1-800. She doesn't focus on any other aspect of discrimination or danger placed upon LGBT, such as violence or conversion therapy or that trans military ban or all the other stuff I could research and bring up if I felt like getting more political. But I get it, this song is about internet trolls. She doesn't have to bring up all that other unpleasant stuff. But that just brings up the question of why she's talking about the LGBT at all. Still, the first verse and beat are fine enough to the point where I don't mind listening to this. It's alright, but I'll take Same Love over this for LGBT ally songs any day.
Huh? Packing the mail, it's gone. She like I smell cologne. Yeah.
So, DaBaby. Currently the front runner for my favorite rapper with the word baby in their name. Now that's a trend I hope ends with him. But aside from that, he sounds pretty legit to me, at least on an aesthetic level. On a lyrical level, he does have some clever punchlines.
I'm the type to let niggas think that I'm broke until I pop out with a million.
But at least here, they don't quite reach the same level as, say, JID or Ski Mask the Slump Dog. Never forgive faucet failure flopping. But DaBaby's voice is fun to listen to and his flow is pretty dexterous. He manages to fit more syllables into this beat than I feel a lot of his contemporaries could. However, I'm not too crazy about the beat itself. It does have energy and a Jaws interpolation that actually fits pretty well, but there's no treble and the bass peaks way too much, especially on the chorus.
Packing the mail, it's gone. She like I
It
smell.
really is a beat that relies primarily on the strength of the rapper using it, so it does say a lot about DaBaby that this turned out to be pretty decent. Nice work, literal actual infant child. I look forward to hearing you on better beats in the future when you actually have a budget.
Gonna do the two-step, then cowboy boogie. Grab a sweetheart and spin out.
Well, this is a country rap crossover I feel better about, and wow, that's weird for me to say, because when I hear this, my mind goes straight to terrible dance rap songs like Watch Me or Crank That. So why is this song okay and those other songs aren't? Well, it's complicated. Or maybe not. The biggest flaw of most dance rap songs is that they're annoying. Not necessarily that they're shallow, but that they're annoying. The get-up is kinda shallow, but it isn't annoying. For one, it sounds like more effort went into writing this hook than just repeating stuff over and over again. It's just dance steps, but at least it's detailed to the point you could actually copy these moves a bit. It definitely succeeds where Teach Me How to Dougie fails, at least. But I think the success of this song is almost inseparable from the success of Old Town Road. Both are rap country fusions that got big on TikTok, so yeah, that's impossible to ignore. And the reason I consider the Get Up a much better song is that, well, I think it's more of a country song. The aesthetic wouldn't feel out of place on country radio, unlike OTR, and making this a dance song is a pretty great way to join those two genres together. It feels like a more organic compromise, and it's pretty fun to boot. Not fun enough that I'm ever gonna choose to listen to it on my own time, but it's fine enough. And now for a familiar country face. Lately, I've seen more country songs in or close to the top 20 than I think I ever have since I started following the charts. You got Morgan Wallen singing about heartbreak and sucking while he's doing it. Then there's the Get Up, obviously. Dan and Shay suddenly became superstars so big they can bring songs back to the top 30 from recurring and nobody questions it. Luke Combs is an unstoppable force and will probably continue to be until he dies. And you also have Blake Shelton praising the Lord and breaking the law, taking what's his, then taking some more. It rains, it pours, it rains, it pours, etc., etc. And Blake's quality hasn't been too steady for years now, especially with two terrible year-end hits in 2013. But here I think he's found some decent footing. I just wish I could click with it more. The base of what's here is fantastic, of course. Gospel influences, bombast, genuine grit, church bells. And just saying that out loud is kind of making me wish this clicked with me a lot better. It could be the writing, I guess. It's kind of vague and doesn't really back up the stakes the rest of the presentation promises. It's mostly jingoism. Proud to be American. I don't really have a problem with that, but when you reference songs like The Devil Went Down to Georgia, one of the most intense country songs ever written, at least that I know of, It does feel a bit lacking that God's Country doesn't swing nearly as hard as the story of a child being forced into a fiddle battle to save his soul. Still, the foundation of something great is here, and I hope Shelton continues to make more in this lane instead of making more crap like Turning Me On. That would be pretty nice.
We pop out at your party, I'm with the gang, and it's gonna be a robbery, so tuck your chain.
I'm gonna keep this one short. This is a bop. Pop out. The beat's fun, Polo G seems likable, and I pray he is. It's just a nice SoundCloud rap song that's way easier for me to get into than most others. And then there's Lil J.
I call a bro, he said he ready for the same. What you claim, you a lame.
I don't want to say he's terrible, but let's just say some of his auto-tune here kept this song out of the good tier. And apparently that's an unpopular opinion. Whoops.
Cause they'll do that job for me while I hop on the plane.
There are at least 5 repeats from last season in either the good or great tier. Not gonna lie, that's kinda disappointing.
I'm a sucker for all the subliminal things no one knows about.
Even though I still like this song a fair bit, I'm starting to think the Jonas Brothers reunion might have been a mistake. Sucker is basically lightning in a bottle in terms of capturing mass appeal, but I hear their follow-up tracks Cool and Only Human, and I just feel sad. Nick, just go solo again, please. You made great stuff on your own. New man on the Minnesota Vikings! So Shawn decided it was a good idea to take one of my tweets to make a point about this song, huh? Well, since at the time of writing this my original Twitter's been suspended, I guess I can't be mad at him since now that tweet's preserved at the very least. But anyway, yeah, that tweet indicated that I like this song, because I do. But that tweet also indicated that I thought Lizzo's voice was annoying. Yeah, it didn't take long for me to adapt, and I think Juice was the turning point. That song won me over much quicker with its delicious funk and hints of Prince influence, which isn't so surprising since she collaborated with Prince when he was still alive. But I'm glad I'm past that rough patch because this is a wonderful piece of music. Though she's still supposedly off-key, I couldn't tell you if she actually was or not. I think it's pretty endearing now because it helps her own that bad bitch attitude that this song is very clearly going for. And it matches that jaunty piano line that plays throughout better than I thought at first glance. And there's even some Caribbean influences, I think. Yeah, sorry, Jax Films, but this is the song that reminds me of Paper Planes, not Yuntkid. Plus, there's just a beauty in a good song about taking down a good-for-nothing man. If you've seen my content, I think you can tell that's a pretty thin line to walk and make it work, but Lizzo manages to stay likable, and I don't have a problem with it. I can tell this woman is a superstar in the making, and I'd love to see her live up to that with subsequent singles and albums.
I'm that bad type, make your mama sad type, make your girlfriend mad type.
When I talked about this song in the spring, I didn't have any expectations this would still be in the top 20 when I did the summer ranking, but I am always happy to have my cynical thoughts disproven. I think the force that has kept this so high on the Hot 100 lately has been the memes. That, in the chorus, feels like it's transcended pop culture and become a catchphrase of Gen Z, whether mockingly or in earnest. Glad Billie Eilish is officially a thing now and is gonna score at least 3 year-end hits now. She earned it, even if one of those hits is about seducing your dad.
Might seduce your dad type.
I can't write one song that's not about you.
Think I'll throw the other Shawn Mendes song up too.
I love it when you call me Señorita. I wish I could pretend.
I know earlier in this video I joked about how it's scary that Old Town Road was able to block Shawn Mendes from #1 twice, but I think I might have oversold that. Yeah, both If I Can't Have You and Señorita debuted at #2, but previously Shawn Mendes had only peaked as high as #4, and his last album is the only one in his discography to spawn no top 10 hits. Really, it's miraculous that he came back swinging this hard. And while neither of his #2 hits are better than There's Nothing Holding Me Back or In My Blood, these are still excellent pop songs that show the self-titled album wasn't a fluke.
Everything means nothing if I can't have you.
If I Can't Have You is a sweet little love-struck tune with a monstrous chorus that's easy to get stuck in your head. It's hyperbolic in the way Shawn talks about needing this girl, but it never comes across as clingy or manipulative. My only real problem is that it doesn't feel particularly special. A problem Señorita doesn't have.
I love it when you call me Señorita.
Camila and Shawn have collaborated before, but I Know What You Did Last Summer wasn't nearly this sexy. Señorita maintains the tight chemistry those two had on that song, and turns it into a smooth Latin crossover that works way better than it really should. Okay, maybe I have to take back the comment about this being smooth. Camila still does sound like her lips just touched a ghost pepper, but it's sultry enough to make it not that much of a problem. I love the layering of the Spanish guitars, I love the way Camila and Shawn harmonize. There's a lot to like here. And if your local Birthday by Katy Perry hater can say that about a sex song, that probably says something, doesn't it? But there is one other oddity I want to point out. At first I thought it was weird that Shawn was singing this line in the chorus, but then I noticed he doesn't sing the word me. So he's singing, I love it when you call, comma, Señorita. Yeah, that's a bit of a stretch. I do still like the way the harmonies sound, but I think this chorus would have worked a little better if he either just didn't sing that line at all, or they sang slightly different things. Or if Shawn came out as trans. I wouldn't mind that, obviously. But that's getting into nitpicking territory. I'm just glad this works as well as it does and that Shawn Mendes is still good. Why wouldn't I be happy about this? If you've been keeping track of what I've already talked about, you can probably tell that this last tier is gonna go by pretty quickly. You know, it's not that I've gotten sick of this song, because I haven't, but when I realized this song has been in the top 20 for almost to the entire year so far, I start to realize we really need some new blood in here. Yeah, this is a good start. The obvious joke with this song is to say, well, I don't care about this song. But you know what? I'm gonna flip that. I don't care. I like this song. I don't care that it's Justin Bieber. I don't care that it's Ed Sheeran singing about not fitting in and hating everyone at a party like he's a nobody, because writing music is not always about writing about real-life situations you've had. I don't think this is something that has happened to either of these mega successful superstars, but let's just say you didn't know who either of them were. You would assume Bieber looks like some pretty boy douchebag, probably, and you'd think Ed looks like a nerd. So Ed could potentially sell not fitting in. Bieber, well, I'm sure there's a lot of social situations this type wouldn't be welcome in. But really, the reason this song clicks so well is because it feels crushingly lonely. Muted percussion and vocal snippets, tired vocals from both our singers. Those sound like negatives on paper, but I found it's an aesthetic that really speaks to me lately. The comparison that immediately comes to mind for me is Troye Sivan and Ariana Grande's dance to this, which portrays a very similar situation. A lack of joy in trying to find solace in each other's arms. I appreciate the hell out of this. It's a big reason I also enjoy songs like Here by Alessia Cara, One Dance, hell, just a good chunk of generally hated down-tempo 2016 hits. It's possible to overdo tired and just slip into boring, but the energetic production and emotional catharsis make sure that doesn't happen here. I adore this song, and I don't care that I'm alone in thinking that. And my top two is the same as it was last time, Sunflower and Dancing with a Stranger. I don't know what to say, nothing's really come close to dethroning these songs, at least in the top 20. And as much as I adore them, yeah, I'm begging for more stuff in the fall so I don't have to retread a lot of the same ground yet again. I guess I shouldn't complain that we've managed to keep the best of the best popular over a long period of time, but I feel like I'm wanting just a little bit more. Am I selfish for this? Maybe. My final score for this week is a 62 out of 100. A lot of good stuff to help inflate the score, and barely any bad songs to offset it. This is definitely a step up from 2018, and I really shouldn't be complaining as much as I am. I'm SigmaOT1, Sam Smith is my non-binary icon, and take care.
I'm losing my self-control. Yeah, you're starting to trickle back in. But I don't wanna fall down the rabbit hole.